You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR 680. And today, the San Francisco Giants can't complete the sweep as they fall 5-3 to the Cubbies in the final game of this 4-game series. Luke Jackson is definitely getting coal in his stocking this year. He's been terrible all season long, and today he gives up the extra innings go-ahead two-run blast to h-vac, just serving up meatballs on a platter like he's working at Original Joe's on during the daytime shift. Some good news though on the horizon, as Lamont Wade Jr. should be back tomorrow and Luis Matos keeps producing at the plate. We'll break it all down, but first I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button. Thanks also for getting us on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're tuning in, we appreciate it. And make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. This episode of Locked On Giants Postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. Today, the Giants, man, I don't know how much longer we got to do this with Luke Jackson, man. In the 10th inning there, I know the Giants had already basically run through their entire bullpen. I mean, they threw a ton of guys today. This bullpen is gassed. You've had a ton of bullpen games. I don't think any of these guys have more than one inning in them right now. Bivens threw an inning. Eric Miller threw an inning. Ryan Walker threw an inning. Sean Jelly threw an inning. And then all of them, none of these relievers had even given up a hit. Or a run. Eric Miller gave up a hit. Ryan Walker gave up a hit. Sean Jelly gave up a couple. None of them had given up a run all game long until Luke Jackson comes in and just immediately gives up 2 runs to the second batter that he faces. Just a terrible outing by Jackson, and this is something that we've seen from him over and over again. After he got that first out, he just pipes a hanging slider literally right down the middle, like that. That's a home run derby fastball right down the middle. And h-vac, he didn't even get all of it, but he got enough of it to get it out of the park, and he hits the wall on top of the wall in center field and bounces out, gives the Cubs a 5-3 lead there in the 10th. And in Luke Jackson, man, this is becoming very old, very fast. Maybe not very fast because he's been pretty bad. Really his whole tenure with the Giants, we've seen some flashes. Last year he did have a sub-3 ERA, so that was nice, but he was hurt a lot, and he's been hurt a lot this year. And the ERA is up to 6.12. This is not what the Giants thought that they were going to get. 6.23 is what his ERA is up to. 6.12 prior to the start of this game, but 6.23 after he gave up 2 more runs in this one. This guy, I feel like he kind of fleeced the Giants and all of us Giants fans into thinking he was a high leverage arm when they signed him. And in 2021, he had a great season with the Braves. He had a nice stretch there in the postseason as well. A 1.98 ERA, whip of 1.16. He was really, really good to do that one season, but the rest of his career, man, if you look at his career numbers, Luke Jackson kind of doing what Luke Jackson does this season. He's had 1, 2, 3 seasons with an ERA under 4. That's not good. That's not a good reliever. I would say that this is unexpected, but he's had 2 seasons with a higher ERA than he has right now. He posted a 6.84 back in 2020 and a 10.8 back in 2016 when he was still breaking through into the bigs with the Rangers. But this guy has just not had it ever since he's been a Giant, really. Last year he did okay in some spots, but this year, I can't think of a single game where Luke Jackson came in, shut the door, and looked effective doing it. He did pick up the win the other day, and he had an okay outing, but it seems like every other time that this guy's on the mound, he's given up multiple runs in 1 inning of work, and that you just can't have that. The other day he was unable to even finish his 1 inning of work before he got yanked. This is just, I mean, dude needs to go back to his day job at Original Joe's serving meatballs up there where they're welcomed, not at Oracle Park. I don't walk around the concourse and see meatballs for sale anywhere. So I don't know why he's just serving them up to opponents on a platter the way that he gave Ian Happ, just right down the pipe, man. I don't know how you can do that. I don't know how this guy is pitching in high leverage situations. Again, I know the Giants ran through the bullpen this week and they're spent, but if there's no better arm in the bullpen, then this guy's just got to go at this point. Like I'm not one to call for DFAing guys until it's really to a point where it's obvious that they need to not go with this guy in this scenario anymore. But I don't know how you can keep throwing Luke Jackson out there in these situations. I would rather see virtually any other pitcher on the Giants pitching staff pitching in that 10th inning. There's a handful of guys in AAA that I would rather see than Luke Jackson up there right now. And I know the Giants are paying him way too much money to just DFA him and outright him like it's no big deal. I mean, they signed this guy to be a high leverage arm, and they paid him for it. But it's this has been a rough go, man. And the Giants, don't get me wrong, there's other ways that they could have won this game. It wasn't all on Luke Jackson's shoulders, but man, am I tired of seeing this guy just give up leads late in games in high leverage situations. I do not want to see this guy on the mound with a Giants uniform on, pitching in the 8th inning or later of a game that is winnable for the Giants. I never want to see this guy on the mound in that situation again. This is terrible. I mean, a wasted opportunity for the Giants to get a win today. Yes, they do win the series. You'll take a 3-1 series win in a 4-game series pretty much any time. But the Cubs are not a good road team. You had an opportunity to come in and win. You had Jordan Hicks on the mound pitching a decent game. You have the offense been managing to score runs and hit the long ball in the last couple of days, trying to keep that rolling, trying to build some momentum before the Dodgers come to town tomorrow. And instead you fall flat on your face and you lose in extra innings. And in the meantime, you also pitch a bunch of arms out of the bullpen, which is already super tired. This game did not do the Giants any favors to set them up for a good series against the Dodgers. I'm going to be surprised, honestly. Just being honest, guys, I'm going to be surprised if the Giants win more than one game against the Dodgers in this upcoming 3-game set at Oracle. You can't lose to teams like the Cubs at home when you got them on the ropes like this in a tie game at home late in the game. I mean, the Giants have done really well in winning these games, these tight games down the stretch today. The offense just couldn't do it, man. Coming up short in a lot of situations there. But I mean, late in this game, the sixth inning is when they had their big rally after they went down 3-0 early with 2 outs. The Giants had Slater at first. He had gotten on base earlier in the inning, but with 2 outs, Matt Chapman singles, and then Jorge Soler hits a ground rule double that scores Austin Slater. Wild pitch allows Matt Chapman to score from third. Matos, an infield single on a slow roller between first and second base, scores Soler, and the Giants tied up 3-3. And as far as Matos goes, when you're hot, man. When you're hitting well, the ball just seems to find ways to help you get on base. And that was kind of what that was there with that slow roller, that infield single. And credit Matos for getting down the line on that one. So it allowed the Giants to tie this game up and keep them going late in the game. But in the 8th inning there, the bottom of the 8th, the Giants had an opportunity, man. Ramos walked, and Wilmer had a productive out to move him to second base with just 1 out after that leadoff walk from Ramos, who runs really well. All the Giants needed was a single. Matt Chapman couldn't do it, but did move Ramos over with a productive out, if you want to call it that, with 1 out in that situation to get him over to third base. But 2 outs and Soler in the box. We know how this one goes. He strikes out, strands that go-ahead run at third base, and Jorge Soler, man, every time you think this guy is going to get it right. And I mean, he has been hitting a lot better since the start of that Astros series. He's really been playing a lot better and hitting a lot better as well. You saw the ground rule double today. The bat path just looks better. The contact sounds better. He just looks more comfortable in the box. He's not swinging at terrible pitches as much. But in this case, they really needed him to come through, and he couldn't do it. And Soler's not been very good with runners on base. We know that. We've talked about it. I mean, what feels like ad nauseum on this show throughout this whole season, but you got to get it done. Eventually, somebody's got to please come through for this team. But this is just the hallmark of the 2024 Giants. Inconsistency. That's who these guys are. Is we don't know who they are every day. And if that is the calling card of a 500 team, you don't know who's going to show up every day. You don't know who that you can lean on game to game to win, help you win games. And I mean, there were a lot of platooned guys today. Pat Bailey sitting, Michael Conforto sitting, Brett Wisely sitting as well. But Bailey can't play every day. They got to limit his innings at catcher. Casali's not a bad backup as far as defensive catchers go. Offensively, he's also not been bad this year. I mean, he's had worse years offensively than he's having right now. But Brett Wisely, not having him in the game is tough. Kid's been playing a lot of innings though, and Michael Conforto is a guy who you also got to manage his innings as well. I mean, we know how injury prone he is, so this Giants team didn't have their best lineup out there today, but you still got to find a way to pull off a win against a team like this. The Cubs, with the win, improved to 38-44. That's not a very good team. The Giants, though, just one game better than them, 39-43. Also, not a very good team right now. I don't know how you can call this Giants team a good team when they're not even at 500. They do have some things working for them, though. Some irons in the fire, some guys that'll be coming back. Of course, the youth movement, the prospects continue with their upward trajectory. This team is set to make a second half run, but right now, man, this team is so inconsistent, so bad when you have nobody that can really offer you a night in, night out performance that you can bank on, with maybe the exception of Elliot Ramos, who's been in a bit of a slump since that last road trip. Another 0-for-4 day for him today. He did have a strikeout, also drew that walk in the 8th inning that we just talked about. But I mean, the Giants, they got to figure out a way to have some sort of consistency from somewhere on this team, because you're not getting it from your starting pitching. You're not getting it from your bullpen, and you're definitely not getting it from your offense. So somebody somewhere needs to step up. Like, please, for the love of God, at some point this season, can somebody just like take control of this team and start performing consistently? Like, one guy, like, we got Ramos down here, but now he's slumping. So, I mean, we got Logan Webb, who's been pretty good all season long. He had a little bit of a rough stretch earlier in the year, but I mean, Hicks has been up and down, but those are the only two guys really even staying healthy as far as starting pitchers go. The Giants are going to get a little bit of another lift from injuries coming back and players returning from injury tomorrow. As soon as tomorrow, we'll explain more on the other side. More to break down in this one. Luke Jackson, we got to do a little bit of a deeper dive on this guy's career stats. Luis Matos keeps producing. A missed opportunity for the Giants, though, ultimately to pick up another game on that wild card race today. And you can't have too many more of these. I know we're only in June. We're getting to the end of June now. We're at the end of June 27th. And Giants still trying to climb back to 500. That's not where you want to be at the All-Star break. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We got to take a quick break, but on the other side, more from this one. Luke Jackson and his meatballs. Luis Matos keeps producing missed opportunities for the Giants. Stick with us through this quick break on the Locked On Giants postcast. Here on Locked On Giants postcast, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, the playoffs. It's year round. You know what else is year round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for your unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank account, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that big parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000. Again, that's 1-800-549-1000, or visit tnusa.com/locked-on. See the link in this episode description below for more details. Today's show is also sponsored by eBay. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Today, the Giants lose a really frustrating one, man. 5-3 loss on a beautiful day out at Oracle Park. Only thing that would have made this day better is a Giants win. It would have been a lot better if I didn't see Luke Jackson just bringing a home run right down the middle of the pipe to Ian Happ, just like hand delivered it. He couldn't have put that ball on a tee in a better spot for Ian Happ. I mean, just a hanging slider right down the gut, dude. Like what? That's a batting practice home run 9 times out of 10. I mean, Ian Happ didn't even get all that ball, launched it over the wall in center. And Luke Jackson has been just terrible all season long. This guy, I mean, his strikeout rate, 17.7%, the bottom 20% of all pitchers in the big leagues. His walk rate is 12.4%. Again, in the bottom 11% of all big leaguers. He's putting guys on a lot and not striking guys out very much at all. That's not what you want from a high leverage arm. I I think you guys know I'm not the biggest advanced metrics guy, but sometimes they do tell a little bit more of the story. And his expected ERA, his expected batting average, both huge. He's in the bottom 8% of all pitchers in baseball in those two categories. His expected batting average on every ball that is hit off of him is 283. 283, man. Like, that is insane. Like, for a guy that was brought in, that was supposed to be a setup guy, a high leverage arm, sometimes could be used in moments to spell Camilo Doval. That was what they thought they were getting when they signed this guy. Instead, he's got an ERA up over 6, and his expected ERA, I mean, he has had some bad luck according to his advanced metrics. His expected ERA is about a point lower, 0.8 points lower than what it actually is, but an expected ERA of 5.41 is still not good at all. This guy has been terrible all season long. He is getting guys to chase at a decent rate, 32.5% chase rate. I mean, but guys, this has not been a good season for Luke Jackson. He's getting good ground balls at a decent rate, over 50% of the time, which is really the only thing that's keeping him from having a worse season. If players start to lift the ball against Luke Jackson at all, or hit some line drives, it's gonna get even worse for him. So I mean, he's not really doing anything specifically well with the Giants this year. Every single piece of his advanced metrics, every single piece of data that you can see on his Baseball Savant page is bad. Like, this guy is not what the Giants thought he was going to be. Last year, a 2.97 ERA was pretty good, but really he was hurt a lot of the season. He wasn't there for the Giants in a lot of big moments. He was cruising against some competition earlier in the season last year, but he just kind of broke down at a certain point, and his outing started to look less and less effective. And at a certain point, it just never came back. I mean, this year he 6.23 ERA over 28 games. It's not good, man. 26 innings pitched and only 20 strikeouts, a whip over 1.68, 1.7 now. I mean, this guy is really frustrating, man. I don't want to see him pitching in these high leverage moments at all. At all. I mean, you have so many other relievers on this team. You have a bunch of arms down in the minor leagues. I would much rather see virtually anybody but him pitch. I have to imagine that the Giants didn't want to throw Howard today because they're probably going to use him during the Dodgers series pretty extensively, if not as a traditional starter, then definitely as a bulk reliever in a bullpen game. But I mean, maybe we could have thrown Randy Rodriguez tonight instead. Like, I would have liked to see that, but I'm assuming that's going to be the combo that we see slated for the Dodgers game is going to be a Randy Rodriguez opener and a Spencer Howard bulk innings guy. So it's tough to see what they could have done differently. Maybe they could have thrown Tyler Rogers, but he did pitch last night and has thrown more innings. He's appeared in more games this year than any other pitcher in baseball. He's appeared in 41 games already this season. Today would have been 42 if Tyler Rogers came out there. But as I said, this team's just really frustrating right now. Taylor Rogers would have been a good option too. Taylor's been really nice this year in some high leverage situations. He hasn't pitched since the 25th. That was also the same day that Randy Rodriguez pitched. But that was when they both pitched last. But I assume that, as I said earlier, both of those guys are going to be big parts of whatever bullpen game the Giants have set up for the Dodgers series. My counter argument for that would be probably going to lose a bullpen game against the Dodgers either way. Doesn't matter if Taylor Rogers is working on 2 days of rest or 1 day of rest. He's probably not. That's not going to be a big difference in that game if I had to put my money on it. So I would have liked to see virtually anybody else on the Giants there in the 10th inning. Like Luke Jackson should be an emergency only pitcher. Like, if you're thinking about maybe bringing in a position player to finish off the game, that's a perfect spot for Luke Jackson. You know, when you're already down 8 runs and it can't get any worse, whatever, throw him out there. I mean, this is just, I can't stand to watch this anymore, man. This is just get this guy off my TV, get this guy off the Giants, get this guy off the mound. Please have somebody else who's more competitive up there and gives the Giants a better chance to win, especially late in extra innings. This is inexcusable way to lose a game. We got to take a quick break, but on the other side, we got to get into Luis Matos doing some great things at the plate, and the Giants getting some reinforcements back tomorrow. Unfortunately, not pitching reinforcements, what they really need, but it will be a big piece. We'll explain more on the other side of the Locked On Giants postcast. Stick with us. We'll be right back. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. This episode of Locked On Giants Postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. With summer travel heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you've always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yeah, we're talking about your rivals' cities. With hotels, bed and breakfasts, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay even in your baseball's rival city. You guys know Oracle Park is the best park in baseball. I don't got to tell you guys that again. But everybody that I talk to tells me that Petco is a pretty nice place too. San Diego is beautiful in the summertime, so why not head to Booking.com and scope out some spots for your next trip down south? You're still not going to catch me at Dodger Stadium. From hotels that look over stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this MLB season. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, maybe not Los Angeles for me, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com on the site or in the Booking.com app. Are you struggling to close deals? B2B selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/locked-on. That's linkedin.com/locked-on for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/locked-on to get started. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Today, the Giants fall 5-3 to the Cubs, fail to pull off the sweep. It would have been really nice to have this 4-game sweep under their belt going into the Dodgers series, get some momentum rolling, a 4-game win streak off of that 6-game losing streak. It all started to feel good for a minute there. And in typical Giants fashion, as soon as they got something going, got to give you a reason to believe, make you start feeling good, make you start thinking maybe this is the year they can get back into the playoffs and end this drought of not winning a playoff series in forever. And then they give you every reason to doubt every single one of those things that they just made you think that they could do. I mean, today, just not enough there. The offense was pretty lackluster. They had the one big inning where they scored all of their runs, and that's kind of been what the Giants offense has done. They have a little eruption, a little mini. I'm not going to say 3 is a crooked number, but they have a little a mini big inning. Can we call it? Can something be mini and big at the same time? A mini big inning, and then that's it. That on games when they lose, they can't string together good innings. They can't string together multiple rallies. It seems like they got to get it all at once. And whatever they don't get in that one inning, that's kind of what you got to work with the rest of the game. And it just wasn't enough today. The Luke Jackson gives up that 2-run bomb. We spent a lot of time talking about that. Luis Matos had a nice game today. I mean, he did have that little infield dribbler to play to run, and he, 1 for 3. He did get subbed out for Conforto at the end there. I'm not sure I love that decision. Matos has been really hot this year, and I know that he wasn't hitting the ball super great today. I mean, a lot of weak contact today after a lot of hard contact yesterday. Every single ball he hit yesterday over 100 miles an hour. Today, he did not replicate that type of performance, but overall, in his 6 games since he's been called up, dude's batting .412. And I mean, he's got a home run, couple of RBIs. He's got 10 total bases and 17 plate appearances. I want this guy playing. I want this guy on the field. I want this guy up in moments where he can make a difference. Yeah, he did show you why he's kind of not the best outfielder today. He had a pretty bad misplay of a ball on a Suzuki, roped one to right, and Matos took a step in before eventually turning around and running straight back at the wall. He almost got there, jumped, leaped for the ball, but it was just barely over his glove, just about a step further from him. And if he had made that accurate first step, that if he had read that ball where it was going off the bat, well, and it just, even if he doesn't make that first step, if he just freezes instead of taking that first step in, I think he maybe gets to that ball. I mean, it's not a guarantee, but point being, we saw on display today Luis Matos's drawbacks as a big leaguer, and that is he is not the best defensive outfielder. And he's made some good plays for the Giants, a couple home run robberies in center field, but he's also made some bad plays, and he's run in on some balls that have gone over his head, and that's something that you'll see from a Luis Matos. So the issue is not him at the plate at all. That's what the Giants need. And honestly, I think at this point, with where the Giants are offensively, with how bad they've been struggling to put any sort of consistency together, I think you got to find a way to get this guy in the lineup every day. I mean, every time that this guy is in the lineup, the Giants are in games. They have late inning comebacks. I think he gives them a shot in the arm, just like Ramos, just like Wisely, just like the rest of the youth on this team does. I think he needs to play more. It's hard to get all these guys in. Like Slater, he's been playing pretty well recently. He didn't have the best game today. 1 for 5, scored a run, struck out twice. But you got to find a way to get these guys in the lineup. Wilmer Flores has looked really bad all season long, man. 0 for 5 today. Batting average barely over 200 sitting at 206. OPS dips below 600. Wilmer, looks like pretty much the worst hitter on this Giants starting lineup today. And that's saying a lot for guys like Jorge Soler, who have had really bad years. Nick Ahmed, who everybody just loves to hate for whatever reason. Giants Twitter just seems to hate Nick Ahmed. I really like the guy. I think he's a very solid shortstop. He's also hitting 246 this year. Not a bad number for a guy who, quote, can't hit. He's obviously not got all those power numbers, but Do you really expect your shortstop to be leading your team in home runs? I mean, not everyone's Francisco Lindor. So you need to find someone up there who's going to be consistent with the bat. Luis Matos, I think, offers you something that guys like Slater don't. And he gives you a shot in the arm. He gives you energy. And I think he needs to play every single day. Maybe not. I mean, he still needs some rest days, but for all intents and purposes, he's got to be your everyday right fielder right now. I mean, Mike Yastrzemski will be in the mix when he comes back from injury, but the Giants, man, they need to figure out their pitching. That's the number one issue right now. I should mention, we've been teasing it all show long. Lamont Wade Jr. makes his return tomorrow from the injury list. That'll be a big lift for the Giants, but it's not a pitcher. They need a pitcher. They need a starting pitcher specifically, or two or three, to come back and really have an impact for this Giants team. If they have that happen, they can they can have a very nice second half, go on a run, maybe make that wild card spot. And if you have a healthy Logan Webb, a healthy Jordan Hicks, if Blake Snell comes back and looks good, if Robbie Ray comes back and looks good, you got a pretty formidable pitching staff going into the playoffs, where you only really need a rotation of your top three guys. They just got to get there. It's going to be an uphill climb, though. This we're talking about playoffs for a team that's multiple games under 500. They're 4 games under 500. I believe they're 3.5 or 4 back now with the loss from the Padres for that final wild card spot. So, I mean, they are still in the mix, but they do have a long way to climb to get there. A lot of season left. But I'll tell you one thing I don't want to see the rest of the season: Luke Jackson pitching in high leverage situations ever again. This guy's got to be the last arm out of the bullpen. There's no excuse to keep throwing this guy in these types of situations when you have other guys like Randy Rodriguez and Tyler Rogers that can come in and get it done. Taylor Rogers. Man, I always mix up the Twins names, man. Tyler Rogers pitched last night. Taylor Rogers was the one who was more fresh and could have come in today. Man, I can't believe it's been like 2 whole years these guys been on this team, and I still mix them up every single time. Man, why they got to go both with T names for their first name? It's like their parents just wanted to play a trick on everybody. I digress. We're out of time here on the Locked On Giants postcast. Giants fall 5-3 and a frustrating loss to the Cardinals. Luke Jackson serving up meatballs. A missed opportunity for the Giants to ride a 4-game win streak into this Dodgers series and to put a 4-game sweep under your belt after dropping 6 on the road. After dropping 6 in a row on the road, would have been nice. Instead, we're going into this Dodgers series kind of feeling this little gut punch from the Cubs in this final game of the series. You do win the series 3-1, but it's going to be tough to get even one win against this Dodgers team over the weekend. We'll be coming to you live tomorrow after Giants Dodgers, as we always do after every Giants game here on the Locked On Giants postcast. Make sure you tune in for that. And they're going to be doing the Mickey Mouse Years giveaway this weekend. We got to talk about that later on. It's so much to get into with Giants Dodgers, as there always is. I would say it's been a fun show, but it's been a kind of a frustrating show, man. I'm genuinely frustrated with all this Luke Jackson stuff. This isn't just me trying to get frustrated and have a talking point. Like, I am so tired of seeing this guy just giving up bomb after bomb, just piping, batting practice home runs right down the middle every time this guy is out there on the mound. That's all the time we got for you today on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.